So here we have Tesla, the well-known electric vehicle manufacturer. Tesla, a company that often captures significant market attention. So here's the current situation we are observing. On the hourly chart, this is precisely what's happening, presenting a clear picture of recent movements. We initially assumed, based on our analysis, that this particular movement was indeed the third wave. First, let's carefully switch to the daily chart, which represents a larger scale. Here, the absolute highest AO is clearly visible right here. Most likely, this significant movement is our third wave. Therefore, consequently, this is our fourth wave. But it is entirely possible that it has not finished its movement yet. Let us now move to a much smaller scale, specifically to the hourly chart. On this particular hourly scale, it is abundantly clear that there are precisely 99 individual bars in this specific section, from this point here to that point over there. These 99 bars truly look like a very nice and well-defined 5-wave pattern. This particular formation represents the third wave, which is precisely where the AO indicator crosses the crucial zero line. The fifth wave is present, but there is absolutely no new low to be observed, so this particular situation might not be the anticipated fourth wave. In that specific case, it could potentially be an A, B, and C correction. Following that, it could then evolve into another A, B, C sequence, and finally, it could culminate in a distinct C wave. Let's proceed on the reasonable assumption that this particular observation is C. Perhaps upon closer examination this indeed is C. Alright, so what exactly do we have presented before us here? It certainly looks like a distinct wave pattern, specifically wave C. We can identify the sequence as A, followed by B, and then C. Therefore, if this specific point in time or pattern is indeed C, then by logical extension, this preceding element would undoubtedly be B. Now, the crucial question arises, how much quantity or measurement do we precisely have here? We are observing a barrel, and the specific measurement indicated is 38. Let's now proceed to examine the 10-minute time frame. On this particular 10-minute chart, we can clearly observe a significant reading of 210 units here. Following this, we then require a 20-minute perspective. Here, on the 20-minute chart, we are presented with a total of 109 distinct bars. This count of 109 bars is indeed excellent and provides a very good basis for our analysis. What do we see here? This looks like the first wave, the second, the highest peak on the AO. That will be the third wave. We have a crossover here, a new high, and there's a divergence. This looks very, very, very much like a chi wave, a corrective chi wave. Based on this, we assume that a downward movement may resume. Based on this careful analysis, we can reasonably assume that a significant downward movement in the market may indeed resume in the foreseeable future. This potential resumption of a bearish trend is a crucial development. I have already meticulously calculated the precise entry point for a confirmed breakout of this particular fractal pattern, which is a key technical indicator. The current price action has already moved significantly below the established alligator indicator, and concurrently the alligator's jaws have distinctly opened, indicating a clear trend. Now if the price re-enters the alligator's territory again and subsequently breaks through this specific fractal level, we will initiate a sell order. Conversely, if the price enters the alligator zone once more and then remains consistently inside the alligator's boundaries for an extended period, we will promptly cancel the pending order. That is to say, as long as the price is not in fact definitively moving in the anticipated direction. below the alligator is open, and this fractal is about to be broken, then we will sell. That's it, we wait. So what do we have here? It turns out that the price is outside the alligator, below the alligator, but here a fractal has formed. That's why our stop loss, we anticipated that a fractal would form here. That's why we initially set the stop loss here, but now we'll move it. Now we'll move it above this fractal. Here, the maximum is 426.21, so we'll move it to 426.30. When meticulously considering the financial spread which represents the difference between the bid and ask prices, it becomes absolutely imperative to factor this crucial element into our calculations. This careful consideration is essential for achieving precise and accurate outcomes, particularly as we approach the designated time of 0630. This specific timestamp, often referring to 6:30 in the morning or evening depending on the context, serves as a critical reference point for our operational adjustments and strategic planning. Therefore, a comprehensive understanding and integration of the spread's implications are paramount to ensure that all subsequent actions align perfectly with our objectives at this precise moment. Here, our position hasn't opened yet, so we're just visually placing the sell order like this. I've already set the stop order, but not the stop loss yet, because I do that after the order has been successfully triggered and activated. I am now meticulously preparing myself, keenly observing and patiently waiting to ascertain if the market price will indeed move in conjunction with my expectations, or if it will diverge from the anticipated trajectory. If this particular fractal is indeed broken, we could potentially get a good strong downward impulse, and the alligator indicator will then fully open up, which could certainly lead to a very strong movement. Basically, if this specific scenario happens, I am definitely counting on at least a new low right here. Let's delve into a detailed comparison, specifically focusing on the figure of 209. This number represents a new, indeed, a remarkably significant low point in our current analysis. While 209 is in fact the absolute maximum value we have observed or are considering within this particular context, it's important to note that our initial primary target, the very first milestone we aim to achieve, will be positioned considerably higher, specifically around the 382 mark. This crucial target, 382, is firmly established and observed directly on the daily chart, providing a clear and consistent perspective for our ongoing evaluation and strategic planning. If we just wait for now. Something happened, I heard a signal. Aha, in the meantime, our Netflix position has opened. I placed an order. There you go. We had such a truly beautiful and meticulously planned setup. There was a significant correction that occurred just like this. Count it carefully, 1, 2, 3, ABC, ABC. We still have this particular fractal pattern left, and the subsequent breakout of this very important fractal. This specific fractal is already positioned well outside the alligator indicator, and that in itself is a very strong and positive signal. So, based on this compelling evidence, I promptly placed this order, and now, as you can clearly see, we have successfully achieved our objective and secured it. Now we can go ahead and right away and without any delay set a stop loss, a protective measure. I've already clearly indicated and highlighted the specific stop loss prices. Here, at this precise point in time, specifically concerning this particular investment position, I will incur a financial loss of exactly $1.25 for each individual share held. The potential financial risk involved is not at all substantial. As a matter of fact, it is quite true that it is indeed rather acceptable and well within tolerable limits. Let's see how this trade goes for us on Netflix. What do we have here? This is the daily chart, and we have a good correction here. I expect that this is A, B, and C. I believe that wave C has ended here. Judging by the comprehensive daily chart analysis, to definitively ensure that this particular formation is indeed wave C and that its entire progression has conclusively ended, we absolutely need to proceed with further investigation. Specifically, to meticulously confirm this crucial observation regarding wave C and its complete termination, it becomes absolutely essential that we transition and switch our analytical focus to a much smaller, more granular time frame. This strategic shift will allow for a more precise and detailed examination of the price action, providing the necessary clarity and additional confirmation points to validate our initial assessment from the broader daily chart perspective. We've already marked this inside. For a wave to be measured properly, it should have between 100 and 140 bars, 280, 270. So we need the 20-minute chart. On the 20-minute chart, we'll have it here. $139 bars. Good. Here we have a lower peak, a lower drop on the volume, which indicates the third wave. It's weak, so this is our 3, 4, 5, 5th wave. This is our first, second, 3, 4, 5, 5, 5. Let's switch to the hourly chart. Actually, we need to go straight to the 4-hour chart. The 4-hour chart shows it very clearly. It was evidently struggling, grappling with an unseen burden that weighed heavily upon its very being. The visible signs of its arduous effort were unmistakable, manifesting as a profound and persistent difficulty in its every movement and action. This was not a fleeting moment of hardship, but rather a sustained and challenging ordeal, demanding immense exertion and resilience. The struggle was palpable, a constant battle against an overwhelming force, making even the simplest tasks appear incredibly difficult and requiring a significant expenditure of energy and determination. It was clearly enduring a considerable and prolonged period of intense difficulty, striving with all its might against formidable obstacles. This is indeed our significant third wave, the third wave, and this is our very distinct fourth wave. There's an important AO crossover. And here we clearly observe a significant new high point, accompanied by a distinct and noticeable divergence appearing on the awesome oscillator. This particular combination provides us with a very strong and compelling reason to confidently assume that the current wave sequence has indeed reached its completion. Naturally, this initial upward movement will be identified as our first wave, and the subsequent corrective action will then be recognized as the second wave. Something like this. We can observe 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and finally 5 distinct points on the comprehensive hourly chart. Now, after carefully analyzing the hourly movements, let's proceed to go back and meticulously examine the more granular 10-minute chart. I consistently utilize the detailed 10-minute chart as my primary tool to precisely identify and confidently enter a strategic trading position, and subsequently, as the smaller, more immediate price movements begin to unfold and develop. There's a lot of risk on this time frame, and after I move to break even, set my stop loss at break even, I can basically stop worrying about this position and look for other opportunities. So we come back after the close. The market is already closed now. Here we can see So first let's look at Tesla. The market closed and our order wasn't triggered. Tesla didn't quite reach the breakout of this fractal, and the price reversed and went up, crossed the alligator and closed above the alligator. Basically here it kind of formed an A, B, C for us. This particular pattern basically looks like a clear corrective wave formation. If we are assuming correctly, this could have potentially been the initial first wave. This would then subsequently be considered the second wave, A, B, C, a distinct corrective move upward. Absolutely nothing significant has really changed for us in this current situation. These specific orders tomorrow, after the market opens, we'll look at this position and search for selling opportunities. For now, the situation hasn't changed. We'll keep looking. Tomorrow, after the market opens, we'll look at this position and search for selling opportunities. For now, the situation hasn't changed, so we'll look for selling points at a better price. After the open, we'll take a fresh look at Tesla. Now let's move on to our second position, which was opened today. This particular position worked out quite favorably for us. We initially bought in at 108.70. Right before the market closed, the price experienced a slight drop, a minor fluctuation. But we are confidently keeping this position open overnight. In principle, I theoretically could move the stop loss order to a point below this specific fractal. However, I absolutely won't do that because I definitely do not want it to get triggered unexpectedly at night, either during the pre-market trading session or early in the morning by some unforeseen event. Sharp and sudden price movement, as often happens in these volatile markets, so that the price doesn't just abruptly knock us out of this carefully considered position. So tomorrow, after the market officially opens, we will carefully observe and assess how to appropriately act in this particular situation. Perhaps we will strategically move the position to a break-even point, or if, in the end, the price unfortunately goes against us, in principle our potential risk here is relatively small, so we are prepared for various outcomes. So there's absolutely nothing to genuinely worry about at all. We'll simply leave everything exactly as it currently is until tomorrow morning. Basically, that's comprehensively all for today's insightful discussion. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are genuinely interested in this particular topic and if you find my extensive experience and valuable skills truly useful and beneficial. And of course, I would also be very, very grateful and appreciative. So there's nothing to worry about. We'll leave everything as it is until tomorrow, basically. That's all for today. Subscribe to the channel if you're interested in this topic and you find my experience and skills useful. And of course, I will also be very interested in sharing my experience with you. And I would be glad if this could be useful to someone. So, goodbye.